because even early, I am late. Hey, folks, welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I'm your host, Johnny Hellcat, and with me today are our minions, Hey Camel,
Hello.
Sanguine,
Good evening, all.
and traveling exhibit, Travis Gardner.
Hey,
Yeah, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing grand. How about yourself?
Yeah, not better than you two. How's the weather down there?
It's cold. It's damn cold.
yep, it is. It is miserable outside. I got 10 inches in.
Phrasing.
Yeah, I had 10 inches of snow in the front yard, and
Ladies.
that's not the ladies. That is not. That's not supposed to happen here. Hold on, We'll see what the temp. We're going to travel over here and we'll see what the temperature is.
I was about to ask, what exactly is damn cold to you?
16.
Well, mine is
Let's see.
19 degrees with a wind chill of 7, according to our local weather app.
Now, are you two in the
Hey,
same
Travis,
region or
no. I'm in the southeast.
different parts of the
Travis,
same state?
have you heard of MotZ?
Yeah, I got the MotZ app, and I even have a couple of MotZ T-shirts from a fundraiser they had. So
Yeah, my dad told me about it, so that's what I use. I don't use like the Weather Channel or anything else like that. I just go to that one. And
Yeah. When I had to ask what is considered cold there, because that is always a hell of a scale.
well, I think any reasonable person will agree below freezing is cold. Sanguine.
I disagree.
Well,
I'll be the unreasonable person in this.
I mean, as you know, if you plot it out, on a long enough scale, below freezing is cold to everybody at a certain point.
I suppose, maybe, but isn't that just an appeal
We stand your
to-
ass outside for like 3 months below freezing. Yes, 31 degrees. That's all. Yeah, long enough. You're gonna say that's cold.
You know, 31 degrees. I will not say that that's cold.
Well, it also depends on what you're
Long enough
wearing
time.
too.
Well, I've always maintained that the part that I hate the most is the wind.
Yes, the wind's the son of a bitch about it.
So, yeah, I mean, if it's 31 degrees with no wind, okay, that's fine. I can do that all day, sure.
That is
But
pleasant. I love when it's like that.
It's the when you got the wind chill putting it below freezing.
And
Yeah,
even then, for me, it really starts to kick in where I actually have to throw on a jacket or something like that when it actually dips below below 0. So when it's like currently outside, it's -4. That isn't terrible. When I was walking home from work, I want to say it was like -12, and it had a wind chill of the -20s.
that would
Yes.
that would probably kill off most Oklahomans.
Again, for me, it's how hard's the wind blowing when it's -4? Because like last year, yeah, stand outside to smoke a cigarette or something. -4 did suck last year, but the wind wasn't blowing that hard when I went outside. So
And the sad part is when
But-
it's blowing like that, it doesn't even have to blow that hard.
nope.
Yep. The real scale, though, is always dealing with what's the coldest you guys have ever experienced?
That -4 is probably like off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can't think of it being measurably colder.
Well,
That's child's play.
Yeah.
Last year during our deep freeze, the one that almost killed Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Edmond, my home thermometer got down to -15.
Okay.
And that's fairly accurate. It's maybe 2 or 3 degrees off of what the mesonet is here.
Johnny, how about you? What's the coldest you've ever experienced?
In recent memory, I would have to say, I'd say somewhere between -25 to -30.
Okay, so the coldest that I've experienced is -48 and wind chill of -60.
Now, the coldest I've felt, not just going based off like the thermostat,
Yep.
but the coldest I've felt, Ice Storm 2000. We were without power for like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know how cold it got then, but it was just being without power that long, like December to January.
Mm-hmm.
That sucked. And that's why I prefer having gas top stove and everything.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I don't want an electric. Fuck that.
Yeah, you need gas top for the reliability of it.
Yeah, if you're going to be in a place where you have to rely on heat from an alternate source, yeah, I would definitely say gas would be the way to go.
I do have a gas fireplace, but I never use it because I can never get the flame adjusted just right, and it's always yellow. And I'm like, well, I might not wake up in the morning, but at least I'm warm.
Yeah, like I said, for me it was the -48 with the wind chill of -60s, the coldest that I've experienced. And
Yeah,
as I
that's
said
much.
earlier, I am a creature of the cold. So when it was that, I had to throw on the issued windbreaker that I had, as well as a pair of gloves and a thicker hat than my standard hat.
I mean, that -4 didn't even feel that terribly cold to me because, like I said, the wind wasn't blowing all that much, and just a couple layers. I think maybe I was wearing 3 layers. Like an undershirt, a long T-shirt, jacket.
And if you can stand still, or at least move within a limited range, you kind of get a I forgot what to call it, but it's an outside layer of air that's around you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that there's 2 Okies on the stream, but do we have anything else to talk about but the weather? I'm sure Travis and I could do this all day.
There's...
Oh,
someone else sounded like they're about to say something.
it's like, we can talk about weather all day. I mean, it's a thing here. Weather and sports. That's Oklahoma.
Yeah. No, I just looked up the winter of '88, which was a killer for Montana. I don't quite remember what the temperature was where I lived because I lived in the land of the Unabomber.
Nice.
But according to Missoula's temperature, it was -42, and we usually got their weather, so I guess it would be around that temperature. But we also got I think it was 8 feet of snow with I think it was like 2 or 3 foot snowdrifts.
That's kind of like when I was growing up. I was born on the Eastern Seaboard, and the Eastern Seaboard had the 96 blizzard, which, where I was living at the time, meant 6 feet of snow was dumped on the entire area. Being 6 years old at the time, that was goddamn magic. I loved it. It was amazing. But if we want to go off of the topic of weather, there have been a number of big things that have happened recently. From apparently Whoopi Goldberg coming out and saying that the Holocaust had nothing to do with race, to her then doubling down on that. The naked man in the Waffle House trying to shoot up the place. The
Wait, naked man in a Waffle House trying to shoot a place. That sounds like a very generic headline. Does this not happen often? Is this something special, actually?
It is something that happens more often than at any other restaurant, but this one is currently in the courts. A naked man went in and shot up a Waffle House. Then the big part about the story...
Dude wasn't even wearing a holster? Like,
Okay.
No.
no shoulder strap? Nothing?
Buck-ass naked went in, started shooting up a Waffle House. And the biggest part of the story is the goddamn fucking hero of the day. Because a dude, in the video of the event, you can see the guy come in, start shooting, and the moment that he walks into the Waffle House after he starts shooting, because he starts outside, a dude busts out of the bathroom and just takes him to the fucking ground, picks up the gun, throws it away, and holds the guy out, just tossing him back outside.
Okay, because I just looked up naked man at Waffle House, and there are like several different articles that are all
Yeah, it needs to be naked man at Waffle House shooting.
Okay, because
Not just naked
2016,
man at Waffle House.
it happened in 2016, it happened in 2018, it happened in
Johnny's
2019.
a brave man with this, with his Google search history.
My
naked man
vague
at Waffle
Google
House.
search injury.
The naked man at Waffle House is something that is damn near an annual story, if not... Well, really, it's only an annual story because it's only annually that a big one hits the news. Most of the time, it's just, God damn...
Well, part of the joy of going to a Waffle House is knowing that there is a very good possibility of something happening like that happening, and you're kind of scared, but you're also kind of excited because you don't know what's going to happen, and plus waffles.
Well,
it's
danger
like-
makes the waffles taste better.
Yes.
It's like take the 10% most insane of the people of Walmart, and that's the average person of Waffle House.
I want to know how far back those articles stretch, Johnny, because like I distinctly remember like spring break when I was in college, me and a bunch of buddies went to Daytona Beach, and it's like for like a week, and just one night rolling up to a Waffle House like 3 a.m. I was like, how drunk are we right now? Holy shit! Like, did the whole day get away from me? Like,
Were you
even
the
then I
naked
knew it was a
man
bad
in the Waffle
idea, and
House that time?
this was pre-2010.
I don't know, Waffle House has always had that kind of reputation.
Well, you know about everybody probably knows about the Waffle House Index, don't you?
That I don't
No, I just
heard of it,
know.
yeah.
I just know that late at night Waffle House, bad idea. It's just that's like lizard brain right there. That's how primitive it is for me.
Well, they can judge the effects of a disaster on how well the Waffle Houses are running in those areas.
It's the number of hours to days that a Waffle House is closed, effectively, indicates how bad the disaster was.
That is
So,
oddly interesting.
yeah, the average, this city floods, that will get maybe an hour or two of the Waffle House being shut down. A massive disaster might be able to get it up to day and a half. And then you have the holy shit of, this Waffle House was closed for a week, and you're just going, what the fuck happened? Did a volcano erupt?
No, I was not aware of the Waffle House Index.
Yeah.
That's something to keep in mind from going forward.
Ours, the one right down the street from us, they have a mobile generator sitting in the parking lot just in case right now.
Yep.
See, Travis is one of them fancy city folk.
Yeah.
I don't even think I have a Waffle House in my county.
I got a Waffle House and a Starbucks, and it just shows you that one side of the street is Oklahoma City and one side is Edmond, which is the Starbucks Target side.
Yep.
So you got the fancy schmancy side.
Yeah, I'm in the fancy smancy side. I got on the right side of the road.
I think this line I'm stealing from Ricada, but it was something along the lines of, it does not matter where Waffle House is, it's in the bad part of town. You could smack one down in the nicest neighborhood and within a year, bad part of town.
This one's actually pretty nice. I mean, it's
nice.
The nicest Waffle House I've ever been in.
That is one hell of a curve that you just put on that, though.
Makes you sound like some kind of, like, connoisseur. Like, you've been in a bunch of them, and this is, wow. Just...
And also, again, it just does not say all that much, because being the nicest Waffle House is kind of like being the most handsome hog.
The smartest kid on the short bus.
It's the cleanest porta potty this side the construction side. I mean, it's the...
The genius amongst retards. Was that a bit too far?
I mean, it seems a little redundant, but...
The tallest midget.
Now you're just trying to win that competition there, Sanguine.
No, I'm the tallest dwarf. I'm not a midget. Though I did just, technically by saying I'm the tallest dwarf, not a midget, I did just say that I have... No, it is accurate because I am somewhat oddly proportioned. Because you guys know that that's the differentiation between dwarf and midget, right?
So how do you feel about Peter Dinklage costing 7 of your brethren jobs, Sanguine?
That asshole move, as I said last week, that is an asshole move. Especially since he's saying that it's a negative representation of dwarves. Snow White and the Seven... How the fuck is that a negative representation of dwarves? They are industrious. They are able to have their own home, which is a cottage. Sure, it gets a bit kind of shit up just because they're constantly working, they're earning money, because they dig and dig and dig in the mine, and making money's not that hard when there's diamonds all around you. Yeah, it's one of those things that the fact that he went after that, when... How much do you guys remember of the old Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Hi-ho. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even remember all their names. There's Doc and... Was there a sleepy one? Or am I thinking of the Smurfs?
Doc, Dopey, Happy, Sleepy, Grumpy.
I always...
Sloth. I don't know.
I was associated with Grumpy.
Yeah, and every dwarf, yes, they have one primary characteristic in that, but each one is actually a full fucking character. You watch it and you get the feel for how each of them function and how they exemplify the characteristic that they have, as well as they aren't just limited to that. Grumpy's probably the most overt case of this, where Grumpy is obviously the kind of putting on a asshole persona, but is the nice asshole. Where you get a feel for each of these characters. To say that they are negative representations, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. Also, he's trying to make it sound like, oh, these are just short humans that forced to live in a cave. No, they don't live in a cave. They live in a goddamn cottage that is the one nice section of the woods that Snow White finds, and they are perfectly fine letting her live there and letting her stay. They keep her safe. They fucking kill the witch in order to keep her safe, or rather, kill the witch in vengeance, because the witch poisons Snow White, and then they chase her off a goddamn cliff.
Well, I know for a fact because Rags actually did a video on that.
Yep.
And it just goes to show that Dinklage never watched the movie.
Yeah. And
I was gonna say I barely remember this movie apparently because like I didn't remember them running a bitch off a cliff.
yeah, that's how the witch dies. That's how the evil queen dies. They chase her. She's running away. A massive storm starts. They chase her up a goddamn mountain. She's kind of cornered. Lightning strikes and causes her to fall off the fucking cliff. They run the bitch off a cliff.
I need to go back and
amazing.
watch this movie. Wow, shit.
Yeah, and
Haven't watched it since little kid. Okay.
Isn't that how they killed Gaston?
Gaston gets thrown off the castle, I think.
It's about the same.
Yeah, they both fall to their death. But the fact that Dinklage is acting like, oh yeah, these are just short humans that are doing this. No, they're mythological fucking dwarves. They aren't just humans with dwarfism. They're dwarves. Straight up magical fucking dwarves. So it baffles me.
Are they even
Go
really
ahead.
magical?
Well, as magical as mythological dwarves are.
Yeah.
Because they have their natural affinity for stone and craftsmanship, which some people consider to be a sign of a magical ability. Other people say that no, depending on the mythology that you're talking about, dwarves are either some of the most magical beings, or they are beings that are almost completely separate from magic.
You know, I did not expect all this talk when I was just trying to make a joke about Peter Dinklage.
Well, you should.
This went on longer than even I expected.
You're on with a giant dwarf, and you didn't think that I would have something to say about dwarves? Think, man, think. But
Well, and to go to the previous topic, the closest Waffle House to me is in Fort Collins, Colorado.
okay,
Well, that's a heck of a drive.
So, I think it's safe to say I'm on the fancy side of Waffle House by not having it anywhere near me.
yeah, there's really two. I'll say three. I'll be generous and say three clientele for Waffle House. They are the people that are just absolutely baked and drunk off their asses. That's category one. Truckers and college students. Those are the three main Waffle House patrons, I think.
And apparently ruffians.
I used to like going there mainly because they didn't judge when you just moaned and pointed at what you wanted on the menu.
Yeah, like I said, because of option number one for their primary clientele. You're drunk off your ass, you show up, you want waffles, you just point at the waffles, and they go, okay, yep, that's usual, and they make you your goddamn waffles.
And there's nothing like that sobering up moment when you're like, I'm at Waffle House, but which one?
Yep.
God, that happened a couple of times.
Hey Johnny, I found a couple different things on Twitter, videos if you want to play them.
Yeah.
Pre-screened. They're not, one's from C-SPAN and the other's from
Sorry.
But Gina Carano posted a video of Shaq talking about vaccines or mandates. Pardon me. You want me to send either one of those over?
Yeah.
And you guys did hear about the Whoopi thing, just to make sure, right?
Yes.
Her getting suspended?
Her getting suspended and why she got suspended?
Because she, quote
Did you hear about the why?
doesn't hate the Jews.
Oh, man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah, the fact that she has apparently come to the realization, according to her, that the Holocaust had nothing to do with racism. Yes, for those listening along, the Holocaust.
Yeah,
Yes, that Holocaust. There's no other Holocaust that it could be referring to other than that Holocaust.
But Sanguine, they were all white people.
Black Holocaust. Oh.
And the thing is that, yeah, that's her argument, that they were all white people. The ADL has gone after her for it. And do you know what the most fucked up part about the ADL going after her for it is?
Look,
according to the ADL, because they just changed the definition of racism, they think that it wasn't about racism. You guys heard about the ADL changing the definition of racism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they defined it so that if it's against white people, then it's not racism. And if someone says, well, the Jews were white, then according to the ADL, it wasn't about racism. It's one of those, what the fuck?
I just saw like a post the other day saying that she was suspended without pay for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And she was talking about quitting the show. I was like,
And did you hear about her apology? And the apology is with massive air quotes.
No, I heard she made an apology on The View. Was it the president or whatever of the ADL? That was her version of like the Bill Maher Ice Cube moment or whatever.
Except this is a situation where she should have gone, yeah, I fucked up. Whereas Bill Maher shouldn't have. And they've switched that somehow. Bill Maher started kissing ass when he had that happen. She went on, I think it was the Colbert program, and started saying, yes, everyone's been emailing me and sending messages about how this is racism. I understand why you're saying that, so you can stop. But you see, the thing is that the Nazis lied. So she doubled down on it and said that the Nazis said that it was about race, but the Nazis were lying to you when they said it was about race. It wasn't about race. It's just the Nazis lying to you and trying to change the definition of race and racism. What the fuck?
I want to do that.
I gotta be honest. I only ever see clips of The View. I've never sat down and watched an episode of it.
Nor have I.
So she could be saying all kinds of wild shit on there. I wouldn't care because wouldn't be paying attention.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is that she kind of worries me because it feels like her skeleton is trying to escape through her face, kind of like Lori Lightfoot.
Hey, I just remember the '90s and her being Buckwheat's mom, and I want to go back to those times. Those were good times.
Yeah, back when Sister Acts were coming out, and Sister Act wasn't god awful. So,
I mean, I really, really wish that people would just celebrate. Like, you know what? I am past my prime. I got plenty of money. I'm going to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what Sean Connery did, didn't he?
I think it was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't need this shit anymore.
That broke him, and the thing is that it wasn't even that terrible of a movie. It was enjoyable. It was stupid, but it was enjoyable.
we're not talking about that.
Okay.
Cross.
Who wants to
Odd
read
transition.
O'Neill?
Actually, this is video, so we don't have to.
Oh, okay.
I think. Well, let me double check to make sure I actually have the audio.
Yeah, that's a transcript of it, and
So let me.
I was really
Let's
looking
try that
forward to
again.
someone trying to read Shaq's lines.
Oh, what are you talking about? I know how to. I can read check stuff. See, he is a very slow talker, and I like that.
Yep.
All right, share audio right there. All right, here we go.
Look, I encourage everybody to be safe and take care of your family. I do. But there's still some people that don't want to take it. And
Is that all right? Everyone hear me?
Yep, we could hear it.
yep.
All right.
you shouldn't have to be forced to take something that you don't want. So
I don't think people are being forced to take. Well, there are some. I mean, listen, we have a mandate at CBS.
that's force.
We have a mandate at CBS. But my point.
That's force.
But where I wholeheartedly.
That's force.
No, it's not force.
It is force, because if the man don't take it, the man gonna get fired. Look, I encourage everybody to.
Yeah.
It's fucking forced.
Yeah, you can't say, well, it isn't forced. People are just told that they have to take it.
The first thing I thought of when I saw that video, was like the sleeping Shaq meme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that Shaq has come out and made a statement about it, maybe everyone's like, real shit?
Yeah.
Who was he talking to?
It was the big podcast, I think is what it was called. Yeah. So whoever, I don't know the person's first name, but Turner seems to be the person's second name. The big podcast, something that, I guess this person works at CBS as well.
I mean, we don't have. It's not forced, but I mean, we do at CBS. But
Well, I guess I just don't understand what mandate means.
means doing it, you're fired.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody mandates me to do something, they're forcing me to do something. But I guess it doesn't mean they're forcing me to do anything anymore. So, what? Okay, whatever.
Well, you see, the problem is that if they say that they're forcing you to do something, that sounds bad. So, they're going to tell you that they aren't forcing you to do it, because that sounds much better. But they're still going to force you to do it because they really want you to do it. But don't you dare say that they're forcing you to do it, because that sounds bad.
And just so that YouTube knows, we're not talking about the disease that shall not be named. We're talking about being gay.
Oh, we want to go into the Canadian definition of conversion therapy?
Talking about mandates.
Nice.
I was just going to see how long that could just hang there.
Yeah, it was a nice awkward hang there, and I liked it.
Sanguine had to go and screw it up.
I wound up in the middle of a turf discussion on Canadian conversion therapy. So
I'm just gonna say though, before you go continue, Travis, is that one's for Terry.
Very nice.
what?
All right, yeah,
Terry's normally the one that makes that sort of joke.
that's a Terry joke. So anyway,
Okay.
Go ahead, Travis.
Yeah, and you know, when you have radical feminists out there saying things that, okay, I get your point. Maybe you've just been on Twitter a little bit too long.
Oh, Johnny, this other one. This is from C-SPAN, so it's like a almost 6-minute clip. I don't know how much of that you want to play, but I thought that was interesting too. It was one of the few things I saw scrolling through Twitter earlier today.
Is it good?
Or
Or does it get ugly?
when they say heated, this is C-SPAN we're talking about. So, like, they talk over each other a few times.
Oh.
But the main gist of it is you got the State Department spokesperson talking about a supposed Russian plot to do like a false flag operation on Ukraine, give them a pretext to invade.
Gotcha.
And the whole time of this video, like you're not hearing any like details of how they came by this information or anything like that. It's just like, hey, we heard this. We have this information. They're gonna do this thing. And the writer, the AP writer that's asking questions is Matt Lee. He's like, okay, so what's the information? I just gave it to you. No, you just told us what your line, but how do we verify this? How do we do anything but just take your word for it, bro?
You don't.
And it goes on for, like I said, nearly 6 minutes of just the Twitter clip. It's on C-SPAN apparently.
If you can't trust a unelected government employee that has virtually zero oversight, who can you trust? I mean, how ridiculous are we going to make this?
I mean, the call is coming from the House. Who's to say I'm not making that one myself?
Yeah.
Well, also, like, haven't we had this kind of song and dance like quite a few times in the past 20 fucking years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. WMDs in Iraq, gas attacks in Syria. There's been all kinds of different stuff they come say, hey,
I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Russians, but for us to come out and say that, yeah, they're going to do that, just seems like we're just I don't know, would you call that poisoning the well, or I don't know.
Yeah, it is somewhat poisoning the well because it's.
I think it's an opportunity for. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
you go first. You first.
I was just gonna say, like, it feels like they're trying to make an opportunity for them to paint a bullseye around a shot they called. Like, if it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, that's because we told you all they were gonna do it, so they didn't do it. Like, you can't see the hand motion I'm making right now, but this. I feel like they're jerking themselves off.
Yeah,
well, I was going to go with the Jedi hand wave, but that's almost the same thing.
You were saying, Sanguine?
It's one of those things where they keep on trying to drive us into conflict. Don't know exactly why. Some of them it makes sense, some of them it doesn't. There are requirements to my mind, like if we say that we're going to help someone, then when the event that we said that we were going to help them happens, we have to actually help them. Otherwise, our word just becomes mud. And without us having the reputation of, yeah, if the U.S. says that they're going to help you, they're going to help you. Why the fuck would anyone help us?
Yeah, the biggest problem I have that is that us going up against going and saying, yeah, we got your back, Ukraine, and we all know what will happen if Russia invades Ukraine. We're not going to do half of what we say we will.
That's the problem I have with it. Yeah,
Didn't we also have their back in 2008?
And 2015. 14.
Well, 2008, was it 2008 or it was earlier than that when it was Georgia, wasn't it? The country, not the state.
2008 or 2009?
Well, that happened during the Bush administration, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, my problem is that if we say that we're going to help a country, then fucking well do it. There is no, oops, sorry. No. You say that you're going to do something, fucking do it. You say that you're going to help people, fucking help them.
We're going to help them by letting them go through this so that they can learn a lesson.
Yeah, we're helping them by giving them weapons that we're going to buy from our so generous Raytheon and Grumman and Lockheed Martin.
And yeah, there's the thing that Adam commented about Afghanistan. This was the same position that I had when it came to Afghanistan. And why the withdrawal pissed me off as much as it did. Because no one is of the mind that, well, we should have just kept the Forever War going. Forever War is the right option. It's just you either end the war or Forever War, and those are your only... No. That is not what people were trying to say. What people were trying to say is that there's a right way to withdraw. There's a wrong way to withdraw. The right way to withdraw is first people that you pull back are your own citizens. Then you pull back the people that you made promises to in order to get their help in what you were doing. You meet the promises that you made. So you promised that you would get them out before you pull out. You get them out before you pull out. Then you start pulling back the troops and the equipment at the same time. If there's equipment that you can't pull back, you fucking detonate it. But what did we do instead? We pulled out the troops, leaving civilians, leaving the people that we promised to get out, leaving equipment. After pulling out the troops, we started pulling out people that we had no promises that we would pull them out of country. For shits and giggles, I guess. Because we didn't have promises, so it wasn't a requirement that we did it. They weren't our citizens, so it wasn't a requirement that we did it. But we pulled them out first. Then we started dithering as to whether or not we should pull out the people that we promised we would pull out. And dithering how much of a responsibility we had to pull out actual citizens. Then we pulled out some of our citizens. We didn't get all of them. We pulled out some of the people that we promised. We didn't get all of them. And after getting partway through, we went, done, dusted, while people were still there.
Well, at least we'll get another chance to try it again when Kiev falls and we have to get out of there quickly. And then maybe Krakow, Warsaw, or Taipei. Taipei might be the next one. We might be able to try that one. We'll eventually get a good evacuation going. I mean, we should become experts at it soon. I mean,
can I just say that this is the farthest I've gone into a political conversation before the eyes roll back in my head, and I just
God damn it, Johnny.
because
I was just with wanting to share that video with you. I was just like, it was refreshing to see a journalist just calling bullshit on the spot.
Oh no, I mean I can share the video. That's no problem. But
I mean I could just drop it into chat, I guess.
Well, typically when we go into political conversations, I've already just lost interest 2 sentences in. But actually, this is holding me, so we're good.
Nothing.
You first.
Nothing holds good conversation like the possibility of a third world war.
That is.
I don't think I live anywhere close to some place that's going to get nuked. So
they got nukes in Arkansas.
Well, I was going to say is I don't really want to live through the aftermath. That's one of the few. I guess one of the few benefits of living in a large metropolitan area. You know, if people start shooting off the big boys, they're going to go pretty quick.
So yeah, we'll try them.
I guess I could try and run towards Fort Sill.
You got the munitions plant.
I got one of them.
Yeah.
It's not like it's
So
the
you
only
said
one.
actions such
No, I can hear that. Good. Okay.
as these suggest otherwise. Suggest meaning they suggest they're not interested in talks and they're going to go ahead with some kind of a. What action are you talking about?
One, the actions I've just pointed to.
What action? What?
The fact that Russia continues to engage in disinformation
Well,
campaigns.
you made an allegation that they might do that. Have they actually done it?
What we know, Matt, is what I have just said, that they have engaged in this activity,
Well,
in this
engage in what?
planning
Hold on a
activity.
second. What
But let
activity?
me because
activity?
obviously this is not the first time we've made these reports public. You'll remember that just a few weeks ago.
I'm sorry. Made what report public?
Were they talking about this in 2018?
About Russia?
Yeah. Russia with their disinformation and clever ruses.
Well, I remember back to like the 2012 presidential debate now, and how they were asked like what they think the biggest threat is, and Mitt Romney said Russia, and Obama practically laughed him off the stage, and like the whole of the media laughed him off the stage, and that's all they've talked about since 2015, 2016.
Yeah, it's a constant refrain with them, and I don't. There was a time when, Russia was the biggest threat. Unfortunately, we started treating it as the biggest threat only partway through that time period. Patton was somewhat right when he was worried that we had stopped the war before we had defeated the real enemy. But we then started realizing, Russia's kind of shit. And we started doing things that we should in order to go against them. But just the way that everything's being handled now, we're acting like Russia's still our major geopolitical opponent when it just fucking isn't. Russia's being held together by a strong man.
They're not selling us, the most shit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their economy is on par with Italy, despite having a humongous amount of resources and industrial capacity. A war with them could only last so long without some kind of outside support, without them turning nuclear. I'd probably a year.
I'm going to admit, foreign policy is not my forte. So my whole thought process is, I don't care. Let them all do whatever. I'd burn it all down. Let's go.
If you'll let me finish, I will tell you what report we made public. We told you a few weeks ago that we have information indicating Russia also has already prepositioned a group of operatives to conduct a false flag operation in eastern Ukraine. So that, Matt, to your question, is an action that Russia has already taken.
It's an action that you say that they have taken, but you have shown no evidence to confirm that. And I'm going to get to the next question here, which is, what is the evidence that they play? I mean, this is like crisis actors, really? This is like Alex Jones territory you're getting into now. What evidence do you have to support the idea that there is some propaganda film in the making?
He's trying so hard.
Now,
to
this is derived from information known to the U.S. government, intelligence information that we have declassified. I think you know.
Okay, well, where is it? Where is this information?
It is intelligence information that we have declassified.
Well, where is it? Where's the declassified information?
I just delivered it.
No, you made a series of allegations and statements.
Would you like us to print it out the topper? Because you will see a transcript of this briefing that you can print out for yourself.
That's not evidence, Ned. That's you saying.
So he's offering him.
Hold
up.
I'm sorry.
Is he offering him a transcript of the briefing they're in?
Yes.
This guy. Okay.
Like I heard that the first time through, I was like, no, that's not. And hearing it again, it's like, wait a second.
Wait, so you're gonna have a transcript of us having this conversation? Maybe you should read that.
I would request it just to be a dick.
You get damn right I'm gonna be requesting this shit.
I'm gonna start requesting all sorts of shit from you.
I mean, that feels like, like going to like a putting in a job application. Like, we do a background check. Do you want a copy? It's like, of my own background. Like, I was there. I know what I did.
You mean that you aren't curious about what's included?
Not generally, no.
Well,
but yeah, I still ask for it. It's like, yeah, go ahead, just to fuck with them.
This guy kind of he just kind of has a weaselly face.
Well, he's a spokesperson. I think that comes with the occupation, doesn't it?
I mean, is it just me, or is it just the entire administration that we have now is just
Weasley fucks?
Weasley fucks that are not Weasley in a competent way, but Weasley in like, how the fuck did you manage to get this far in life not breathing?
Yep.
No, they've managed to cultivate the Weasley aesthetic so well that they've landed where they are.
When you lie on your application, you still get the job. That's how.
Like they just managed to look so Weasley that people think that they actually are, and they take that for some kind of competence, and that's how they got the job.
The thing is I think if somebody lied their way to get into this job, they would have to show some kind of competence so they wouldn't get found out. I think this guy was absolutely truthful in his resume. He's just the moron.
Well, the best part is we still got almost 4 minutes left of this video.
Oh, God.
I can still color in the lines.
What would you like, Matt?
I would like to see some proof that you can show that
Matt, you have been
that shows that the Russians are doing this. Ned, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know that was my point.
You
You have been doing this for quite a while. You know that when we declassify intelligence
That's
information,
right. And I
we do so in a
WMDs
means
in Iraq.
we do so
And
with an eye to protecting sources and methods.
Is not going to fall. I remember a lot of things.
He just smacked him twice there.
Classified information, other than you coming out here and saying,
Matt, I'm sorry you don't like the format, but we have
it's not the format; it's the content.
I'm sorry you don't like the content. I'm sorry
It's
you.
not that I
I'm
don't
sorry
like
you
it,
are
we're
doubting the information that is in the possession of the U.S. government.
No,
what I'm telling you is that this is information that's available to us. We are making it available to you in order for a couple reasons. One is to attempt to deter the Russians from going ahead with this activity. Two, in the event we're not able to do that, in the event the Russians do go ahead with this, to make it clear as day, to lay bare the fact that this has always been an attempt on the part of the Russian Federation to fabricate a pretext.
Yeah, but
that answer there, like I said, they're wanting to paint a bullseye around, whatever outcome happens. If it doesn't happen, they say, "Hey, we told you about it, so they didn't do it." If it does happen, like, "We told you so."
I gotta say, that's a decent pause game.
This guy wouldn't make it as a Best Buy manager in any other place on Earth but he gets this job. I'm kind of depressed that I'm an appliance repairman.
He's really damn good at being an empty skin suit.
Yeah, he looks bored the whole time. Like, they say, C-SPAN said this was a heated exchange. He doesn't look like his blood pressure, went up even 5 points. Nothing,
Yeah,
he looks positively bored talking to this journalist.
It's just the constant thing of, well, this is what our sources say. And the guy came very close to asking a question that I think needs to be asked every time. Are these sources as reliable as the ones that said that Kabul could never fall within a week?
Yeah, I just love that. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I remember, W&Ds. I remember Kabul won't fall.
Yeah. Because that's really the thing. There's two situations, and I'm not sure which one's the more frightening when it comes down to it. Either we are getting the absolute best intel that our agents are able to put out, or we know that we're getting shitty intel. Our agents know that we're getting shitty intel, but they're still passing it along. Which of these two scenarios? Because if it's the former, we need to sack our entire intelligence agency, or all of our intelligence agencies, and start from scratch. Because if the best information that they can get, if the best work that they can do ends in us being completely fucked, why the hell are they there? And if it's the latter one, okay, so what is the thing preventing them from doing their job properly and get rid of that obstacle?
I have a question here, though. Why do we think that the Russians need a pretext? Because they know we're not gonna believe anything that they say. So why even bother coming out and saying anything other than we're invading?
Probably
Well,
appearance.
the reason would be the reason why anyone would do that in the modern day. It's to make sure that anyone that isn't in a complete top-down autocracy. It's to make sure that their citizenry will back what they do. Because the U.S. has not lost, the U.S. military has not lost a war by losing the fight. We keep on losing the war because we have numpties at home in government and people that say, well, we want to end this fight. So we'll end it by whatever means necessary in order to get it to end now. Whether we're winning, whether we're losing, fuck it, it's done. That's what happened in Vietnam. That's what happened in Korea, because in Korea, we didn't really lose, since our stated goal for Korea was to return back to the parallel, and we successfully returned the fighting back to the parallel. But we had an opportunity to drive past the parallel, and government officials and just the lack of will of the people to continue on meant that we stopped. In Vietnam, our troops weren't losing the conflict, but we lost the heart to continue, so we withdrew, and it collapsed rather spectacularly poorly. Same thing in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was not that our troops had been outfought. It was command issues, and then the civilians at home, as well as the civilians in government, that led to the situation that we had.
I don't. Sanguine, do you remember the pretext they had for Crimea? Because I've seen people talking about like the Second Chechen War and how the pretext they had for that was apparently an apartment bombing in Moscow.
Yeah, I want to say it was.
I don't recall the pretext they had in 2014.
Let me quickly double check.
Yeah, Adam was
Well,
asking.
For the
Taking of Crimea.
Crimean annexation, it was supposedly there was a massive upswelling of the Russo Crimeans, effectively, the people that lived in Ukraine, in Crimea, that were of the Russian ethnic descent, saying that they wanted to separate from Ukraine and join with Russia. That was supposedly what was the impetus behind all that shit.
So why didn't, if that was the pretext, why didn't Ukraine just be like, all right, pack your shit and move to Russia?
Yeah, it's one of those things that they claimed that they wanted to do it. Russia then started to back the people that they said were claiming this. So they wanted to hold a vote. The rest of the world went, yeah, but we aren't going to trust you to actually run the vote. Then the vote happened. There were accusations of people on every side fucking with the vote. And while that argument was going on, Russia pretty much went, look, there were a bunch of people that voted they wanted to become part of us, so you're trying to prevent them from becoming part of us. Fuck it, we're sending in people to support the people that want to become part of us. That was functionally the setup, if I'm remembering all of the details correctly. It was a massive shit show.
Were we still wanting to finish up with this or video or?
Does it get any better?
You don't have any evidence to back it up other than what you're saying.
I mean, he's laughing in the dude's face.
We think we have information the Russians may do this, but you won't tell us what the information is. And then when you're asked,
that is the idea behind deterrence, Matt. That is the idea behind deterrence.
And when
it is our hope that the Russians don't go forward with this.
Is you say, I just gave it to you. But that's not what
you seem not to understand. You seem not to understand the idea of deterrence. We are trying to deter the Russians from moving forward with this type of activity. That is why we're making it public today. If the Russians don't go forward with this, that is not ipso facto an indication that they never had plans to do so.
But then it's unprovable. I mean, my God. What is the evidence that you have that suggests that the Russians are even planning this?
Matt,
I'm not saying that they're not, but you just come out and say this and expect us to believe it without you showing a shred of evidence that it's actually true. Other than when I ask, or when anyone else asks, what's the information? You said, well, I just gave it to you, which was just you making a statement.
Matt, you said yourself, you've been in this business for quite a long time. You know that when we make information, intelligence information public, we do so in a way that protects sensitive sources and methods. You also know that we declassify information only when we're confident in that information.
I mean,
if you doubt the
pause, dude. At least Colin Powell had a prop vial with him when he went to the UN. This dude, no slideshow, no nothing.
And the thing again, if you don't have so on the scale of how solid this evidence is, would you rate this the same level of certainty as you were rating the 100% sure info that Kabul would not fall? Because if so, there's a massive goddamn problem. If you rate this higher, okay, for what reasons is this rated higher than the previous intel? And why did you rate the previous intel as highly as you rated the previous intel?
I just love how a year into this guy's presidency and the spokesperson is just like, still on the, trust me, bro.
Yep.
With the press, where could we go wrong?
And, take away like the last presidential term, right? Take that out of the equation entirely. It seems like they got more pushback, at least when I paid attention during Obama, during Bush, It wasn't just one reporter asking, a pointed question that was, making the rounds for the day. It was,
Well, no, Obama got about the same amount that Biden's getting right now. They were just constantly trying to fillet the man. Which is why immediately after the Democrats lost the 2016, there were all these people saying, man, do you remember when there was the Obama administration and there wasn't a single scandal or question as to whether what they were doing was legal? And I'm going, they ordered the assassination of a U.S. citizen without going through the courts.
And his son.
And they had constant scandals. The difference was that there were like maybe one or two reporters that would actually bring up those stories. Everyone else would pretend like never happened. No, that never happened. And they just wouldn't talk about it. It wasn't a scandal-free administration. It was an administration where the reporters refused to admit that there were scandals. There's a massive goddamn difference between those two statements.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love this. Like almost 6 minutes of, what's your source, dude? Trust me.
Yep. Like I said, it comes down to you've had how many bits of bad intel that you've released that you've sworn up and down is the best intel to hand. How many times has that gone pear-shaped? Every fucking time? Okay, so why should I trust that this intel that you're saying is top-notch, just like you said all the intel that went bad was, is anything better than that previous intel? Give me a reason. When you are batting 1,000, no one's going to be coming up to you and going, well, how do you know this? That's when you're able to do the, fuck, look at everything else I've done. I know it because of the same shit. You happy? And most people will go, yeah, sure, cool. When this is your 407th time up at bat, and you are still yet to have a single time that you get on base without being beamed by the ball, no one's going to just trust you that you have this. No one's going to assume that you have the right information because you have demonstrated time and again that you are fucking incompetent.
I don't remember which comedian it was. They had a bit, or at one point they're like, why don't you just hand over the Magic 8 Ball there, Nostradamus?
Yep. Yeah.
And apparently, this reporter, what was his name again? Matt Lee. I haven't seen much of people talking about like his reporting, but what I have seen people talking, the people talking about it today, like, yeah, he's been doing this for a long time. Cross administrations, he'll ask tough questions, and saying we need more guys like him. It's like, okay, cool. I probably read something he's written for the AP at some point, just didn't focus on the name.
And this is the level of incompetence that this administration has shown would get them fired at anywhere. Everyone has that one McDonald's that they know nearby where it does not matter how simple of an order you put in, they will fuck it up somehow.
It's not a McDonald's here, but I totally understand.
Yeah. There's always that one place. Might not be a McDonald's, might be the KFC, might be someplace else. There's always that one fast food place that where it does not matter how simple your order is, they will find a way to fuck it up. The only place the administration would be able to find a job and not be fired for incompetence is at that one fast food place that and even there they might actually get sacked.
See, that's that place where It's a last resort, like when you're drunk enough to not care that they fuck it up.
Yep.
It's just kind of worrisome. I'm afraid one of these morons is going to sit on the button or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just cynical by nature, I guess. Like, I don't trust any of you fuckers. You want me to believe you? Prove it.
Well, I mean, there was a meme that was going around that was it was a depiction of a Mayan heart sacrifice, and it said, and it was like, "Are you sure that this is going to help the rain?
Are you sure this will bring the rain? Trust the science."
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives me crazy, because there's always been the question of, well, how do you choose what experts you listen to? And the way that you should choose what experts to listen to are, okay, which ones have been the most accurate the greatest number of times? They're probably the good people to start with. You still have to spot check their work. You still have to look at whether what they're saying now in this matter is correct. But if you're talking about someone who has gotten the answer right 9 out of the past 10 times, and you're having to come up with a solution, and they say, I think this is probably the right answer, and you're going, okay, I don't have time to look over everything right now. I need to pick an answer. And you have that guy, and then you have the other guy who just dug a crayon out of his fucking nostril and says, I think that we should do this. And he's been wrong 10 times out of 10 times. You go with the guy who's been right 9 times out of 10, and you just fire the imbecile in the corner who just dug the crayon out of his nostrils before stealing your fucking oxygen by even continuing to breathe.
Well, the thing is like going to another famous government bureaucrat expert that everybody says is the greatest person to know about all this. He got his job not because he's an award-winning scientist. He was just there long enough to play the game to get up to power.
He was wrong in damn near every single thing that he said. The man is the only person that I can put a name to that after it was shown beyond a shadow of a doubt that AIDS was HIV and HIV was a blood and bodily fluid transmission disease, the man was still saying, now see, if a child grows up in a home and one of the parents has AIDS, they can get AIDS from the air and from using the same cereal box. Are you retarded?
Hey, Johnny, you want to take another sharp left turn?
Sure.
I put another tweet in the side chat with the video.
All right, we can be done with this one anyway.
Ability of the U.S. government, of the British government, of other...
Just for fun. It is Putin with a dog. It's been going around lately.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
He also scared Merkel with a dog, if I'm not mistaken. Like, apparently Merkel had like a fear of dogs, and he brought like a big one out when they were meeting one time just to fuck with her.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
See, if there was ever like a President Camel, it wouldn't be, like some like Labradoodle or something. It'd be like a Rottweiler.
You'd be the non-racist LBJ, wouldn't you?
Wait a minute. Wait. LBJ, the civil rights president, was racist?
I respect that.
Unbelievably so.
The LBJ that helped teach illiterate janitors at the school how to read?
The LBJ that had several comments about how he would have these voting Democrat for the next 100 years. The LBJ who made a score of well-known and verified racist statements throughout
LBJ, the last Democrat to win
life.
Oklahoma.
Well, on it, but no. I mean, you're equating. You're putting him in the same running as. Are you saying LBJ the racist as in normal Texan racist, or he's a horrible person? Because if you're saying he's normal Texas racist, yeah, he was.
No. I'm saying LBJ is probably, when you're talking about presidents that we've had since, let's say, World War I, the only president that beats LBJ in how fucked up he was when it came to racial issues was Woodrow Wilson.
I vehemently disagree with you on that.
I'm more than willing to argue this point.
Because there are several presidents I would put ahead of that. Nixon is one of them.
I definitely would not.
I would. Nixon was one of them.
And sure as shit, not more racist than Wilson.
Well, nobody's more racist than Wilson. I mean,
making sure that point is at least held.
Well, okay. For 20th century president, racism level is Wilson is the max.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that was at least a common benchmark when we're talking about things.
Well,
okay,
I think all of you are wrong because history starts at 2016.
Okay, but I mean, if we're going to go by the most racist president we had ever, Andrew Jackson was probably the worst.
And you're going to use the document that started the Trail of Tears, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, I am.
Did you ever read the starting law for it?
I don't particularly care about what the starting law was, but when you have something that's called the Trail of Tears, and this guy's the guy that was responsible for it.
It follows us wherever we go.
The problem is that the part that turned that horrendous was the way that the governors put it forward, because the way that Jackson put it forward, the way that it was in the actual federal document, was the choice was, if you're willing to live by the laws of the United States, congratulations, you live in the United States. If you refuse to live by the laws of the United States, then we will set aside lands and you can live there. That was the source document. The governors took that as, we will force all the Indians within our lands to do a forced march to these newly established reservations. Don't get me wrong. Not saying that Andrew Jackson wasn't a racist. I'm saying that particular thing, the application, was more on the governors than it was on Andrew Jackson.
I'm going to be honest. The only time I really want to talk about Andrew Jackson is when someone owes me a 20.
Come on, you have to admit his dueling was fucking awesome, and you would have fun talking about his dueling.
I mean, okay, just because he's racist doesn't mean that his dueling was not awesome. He's an awful person, but I would not want to piss him off.
And he was a goddamn terrifying general. In the best possible way of being a goddamn terrifying general.
Yeah, when everyone stood in front of each other and took turns shooting, I mean...
Oh, no, he was a son of a bitch, according to the English.
I think I'd rather have Patton, to be honest.
True, Patton was more interesting, but for this time, Andrew Jackson was just goddamn amazing and a son of a bitch as a general. And
I think you ever going to take that turn, Johnny?
Routinely had troops of all different sorts, because Battle of New Orleans, his most famous victory. He had pirates, native tribes, the militia, the standing army, and just a bunch of people that he went, you want to fucking fight for me? And they went, sure. That was his fighting force at the Battle of Nolans.
But go back to Woodrow Wilson is the top racist of the 20th century. I'm going to bring FDR in on second. And that's mainly because of the practice of redlining. He was the president that brought that in.
I could include FDR up there. And like I said, LBJ should be up there as well.
LBJ is towards the end.
I
would put Reagan. I would put Nixon ahead of him. I would put there's
he's the one that
I would even put Clinton.
LBJ is the one that started all the shit that caused what we currently have as our issues. He was the one who put forward the model cities, the Great Society. He was the one that put forward all of the different changes that collapsed the black family. And he did so knowingly. In his quotes, it was made clear he did so knowing that it would make black people reliant upon the Democrats and reliant upon the federal government rather than themselves. So knowingly putting forward that shit, it's impossible to say that he was anything but a ridiculous racist.
Okay, now that we talked about racist American presidents and Russians, anybody want to talk about Chi-Coms? Come on, Johnny.
I got the video. I got it up and ready to go.
It's only 30 seconds, so.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get this. Oh, I got to work on my transitions because I didn't transition back to the regular screen. But we're here already, so screw it.
This is how the sausage is made, folks.
Jesus Christ, not her.
Audio was okay?
I didn't hear anything.
I would say...
Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay.
It's their audio's fucked, not your audio.
To our athletes, you're there to compete. Do not risk incurring the anger of the Chinese government because they are ruthless. I know there is a temptation on the part of some to speak out while they are there. I respect that, but I also worry about what the Chinese government might do to their reputations, to their families.
Don't say a word.
We should boycott the Olympics.
Just win us some medals.
Well, Travis, maybe you can answer this question for me that I've had for like a really long time. How do you boycott something that you pay no attention to begin with? Because if you can figure that out, I'm on board. Until then, I'm kind of stuck where I'm at.
Well, you're just going to do it my way. You just not pay attention to it and say, hey, I'm boycotting it.
Well, in that case, I've been boycotting every Olympics since the American basketball team got a bronze.
My problem is with the Olympics is that it combines gym class and foreigners, and then
my problem is there's too many events. I don't care about 90% of what goes on at an Olympics, summer or winter.
See, my biggest issue is that we should have kept the Olympics how it was started up when it was restarted, which was they couldn't be professional athletes, and there were certain competitions that were military only, which made it more interesting. When you have people that can't be professional athletes competing, and when you have it so that certain things are military only, that's the reason why Patton was in the Olympics.
But I just thought it was interesting. Like, the Chinese government is ruthless, so don't piss them off.
Yeah, because she's a coward and she gets money from them. So if you piss them off, she might not get the money that she wants to get from them. And that would be horrendous.
I want them to go over there, just piss them the fuck off, because there's nothing they can really do about it.
I don't know. Didn't they disappear a tennis player?
Well, it was one of their tennis players.
Yeah.
You think you?
I was gonna say, yeah, that was one of theirs.
Exactly. You're just visiting. Why the fuck do they care?
I personally do not want this to happen at all. I do not want the travel, the money, and everything else to go to China because they have gone back to being more hardcore communist after their short. Okay, we're going to experiment enough with capitalism to get everybody to send their shit here, but now we're going to become communists now that we have the money.
Well, it was more that they're going to experiment with capitalism to prevent themselves from dying because they were starving to death at an absolutely ridiculous rate. They were falling behind in every measurable marker, effectively. They were just absolutely fucked. Communism had fucked them, just like communism fucks everything. And they decided to open up, let in foreign investors, let in foreign capital, allow native-born sons and daughters to engage in capitalism as well. They went through a massive growth and boom, and now they're looking at it going, see, this is the natural state of things, so we're going to go back to the policies that we had before. It's this constant fucking cycle of, for some reason, people on the extreme end of that thing seem to have this idea that you can change everything about a situation and it will change nothing about the outcome. You can change the laws, you can change the way that things are done, you can change how everything is acquired, you can change how it's made, but it won't change the fact that you're still making this number in this quality and quantity and everything else that is a knockdown effect of all the shit that they just changed. Won't change at all, because why would it change when you're just deciding that nothing's going to remain the same? It's fucking retarded every goddamn time. It's the same reason why you have people that will say, well, the U.S. needs to go to just single-payer health care. And when someone brings up okay, so what will happen if the U.S. goes to single-payer health care and the production of novel medicines and novel procedures collapses to, at most, the average for the rest of the world? Because currently, the U.S. is responsible for over 50% of all novel medications and all novel treatments. What would happen if that happened? And no one wants to answer that question. And when they try, they say, well, that won't change.
Well, there's a Twitter mutual of mine, and she's Canadian, and her mom had to come to the United States at expense to get a specialized surgery that was not available in Canada because it was experimental.
And it also happens due to rationing, where you're determined to not be a reasonable cost. So you're going to be denied this treatment that might work, but it will be more expensive than it will cost the government too much money, because they'll end up spending more treating you than they would get out of the deal. So they just refuse it, which has happened countless times in all of these different countries.
you know, I'm not saying that we don't need some kind of way to, some kind of medical safety net to prevent people from going without any kind of medical care. But we shouldn't have an entire system that is controlled by the same bureaucrats that we just seen in that last video.
And the main thing is, if you want to reduce the cost of medicine, as everyone should want to reduce the cost of medicine, the cost in the U.S. is absolutely ridiculous. I think we can all agree on that. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that you do that is you look at where the largest unnecessary expense in that is coming from. Or, I know, Johnny, you're somewhat familiar with this because of your line of work. I'm somewhat familiar with this because of my time as an EMT and looking into it. So, if you had to pick one area where a massive amount of money is just being pissed away when it comes to healthcare, what would your first option be, Johnny?
As far as
You're changing one thing to try to reduce the cost. What would you think is the one thing that you do to change the cost by the greatest amount? If you don't have a one on the top of your head, I can tell you what mine would be.
okay,
And see if you agree. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you get that bill, a large chunk of that bill is covering the malpractice insurance for everyone and facility that was even obliquely related with your care. So when you go to the hospital has coverage for the entire hospital to protect against lawsuit. So you're paying the hospital's lawsuit protection. The doctors have protection against lawsuit, so you're paying for their protection against lawsuit. And by protection against lawsuit, I mean that they have insurance that they have to pay into in order to have someone represent them should this happen, and have money saved away to pay off all the shit should it happen. Then every nurse that you come in contact with also has coverage. Every technician that you come in contact with also has coverage. The pharmacist that makes the drugs for you, they have coverage. The pharmacy that is the location where the drugs were made has coverage. Then the cleaning staff has coverage because they could also be sued depending on what causes you to have a negative response. The maintenance...
the doctor, the doctor that just happens to poke his head in and ask how you're doing
has coverage. The maintenance staff have coverage so that they don't get sued if they were the ones that screwed something up. There's every single person, even obliquely associated with your time being treated, has coverage against lawsuit. It's because we're so fucking litigious that we will sue fucking everyone. If there's a name that you can associate with someone, you will sue them in the event of this. And we kind of promote this as a society. We have all these ambulance chasers that are always looking for, were you harmed or did someone do this? And we don't actually go through a first step of, is there any grounds for this claim? No, we just let it go through effectively. So a massive portion of the bill is just covering everyone from being sued. We could get rid of that by disincentivizing it. There's a bunch of ways that we could do that. Or by building in increased protections against those sorts of suits. Because if you are able to make it so that the frivolous suits are completely tossed out and it doesn't cost a dime to deal with those, then you'd just be left with the no, this doctor actually did something fucked up. It wasn't just a minor thing. It wasn't just a very slight inconvenience. No, it was this doctor was supposed to amputate your right leg and they amputated your left leg. Because I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement that you should still be able to sue the doc who amputates the wrong leg.
Well, actually, my wife's cousin had his foot amputated because, well, they were saying it was diabetes related, and so meanwhile he's trying to walk with this prosthetic, and come to find out he's got an infection. Well, they go to check out the infection, and it's the bone. So as they're talking about, how he got this bone infection, they're thinking that was what was wrong with his foot to begin with. So they didn't even need to take his foot.
Yep. And it is one of those things that in that case, it could be questioned, okay, is this something that the doctor should be able to be sued for, or is this something that the doctor shouldn't be able to be sued for? Because it could be that with all the information that they had, they did what was the right thing. That's one thing. If it should have been obvious, then that's another. But if we reworked how lawsuits for that shit worked, we could massively cut the amount that medical coverage costs.
Or you could go the Camel route and just be Indian. I don't have to pay for shit as long as I get to one of my tribe's clinics or hospitals.
Yeah, as long as they're an IHS provider.
Which is why I am blissfully ignorant to everything that's going on right now. I'm scrolling Twitter, talking to chat.
The only time I've ever been in an IHS facility was I was called in to repair laboratory deep freezes in the one in Anadarko. And I show up there because they couldn't find anybody else in the area that could work on them fast enough. So they call me, and I get there, and I'm like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Nice.
Sounds like IHS.
And, well, I just called the manufacturer and explained everything, and they're like, oh, hold on. And they just emailed me the entire diagnostics and service manual for their top of the line. These are the super cold, the -40 freezers. Yep. And I had fun with those. Those were great to work on.
Yeah, I've done a lot of shit with those. I work in a lab and I've done lab work for a fair bit. Did biology major in college, all that good shit. So I am well familiar with the sort of freezer that you're talking about.
Yeah.
See, I kind of almost agree with Terry, but not quite. He says, I have a simple system. If I'm not dying, I don't need a doctor. If I am dying, they probably won't get here in time. See, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if I'm dying or not. I just know how I feel. If I don't feel like I'm dying, I'll take some Robitussin and sleep it off. If I do, then I'll let somebody drive me to the clinic or to the hospital, whichever one's closer or open.
If you're a real man.
They'll say, oh yeah, here's some amoxicillin, go away.
If you're a real man, you would drive yourself to the emergency room.
I have bad enough road manners as it is. I don't need to be driving when I'm feeling that shitty.
I did that when I had my appendix rupture, and that was... did not exactly know how bad I was until I got into the emergency room. Like, oh, I should have called an ambulance.
Well, if it's after like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to go to one of the tribe's hospitals, and that's like a 140-mile round trip. So, I mean,
I just drove to work.
If it's that serious, I'm letting somebody else drive.
Yeah, like I said though, it's the fact that so much of the hospital bill is that insurance is one of the reasons why anytime I hear someone say, well, we just need to go to single payer, I want to slap them and laugh at the same time, because that would do nothing. That would just mean we're paying that massive bill government-wise rather than individually.
What is single payer, just so that we're clear, because I have no idea what that means.
So single payer means that you would never have money taken from you to go to a doctor, because it is taken from the government. The government pays everything directly. That's different than the Medicare for All option, which the Medicare for All option, which people also push, is effectively a national health insurance program where every person still has copay and shit like that, but the bulk of it, in theory, would be paid under the government insurance policy.
If we could get the costs under control first, then we could start talking about different healthcare policies.
Yeah, you need to control for the main things that are causing the prices to inflate.
Because,
like I said, it's that insurance issue, not the insurance that people pay for their healthcare, but no, the insurance that the facilities and doctors and everyone that deals with you pays in order to prevent being sued. And the other main factor that increases a lot of this is every time that they have to increase the cost, it means that there's a certain percent of the population that won't be able to pay that cost anymore, right? Which means that they then need to increase the cost for everyone that can pay in order to cover the people that can't pay. Especially when you're talking hospitals, because they don't turn away people that are going to die. So you show up at an ER with a massive issue. Let's say you just got shot. You show up at an ER. They're going to treat you. They're going to go through the surgery, do all that shit. They're going to get you patched up. And then afterwards, they'll go, by the way, can you pay for this? When you say no, that means that everyone else has to cover your no. So the price for everyone else's treatment goes up.
The problem is, the thing is, if we don't get cost controlled before figuring out a different means of covering people, we'll end up with what we have in the college system, where we put in the ability to, we have grants and we have extremely cheap credit. So there is no pressure on the colleges to keep costs down.
Yep. In fact, they have every incentive to increase the cost.
There's a name for that, but I don't know what it is.
I just call it government bloat.
Are we still talking about healthcare?
I don't know.
Healthcare and schooling now.
Oh, yeah, my eyes are definitely glazed over, Johnny.
I have to even in my profession, I have to have I have liability insurance because people like to sue.
Yep. Yeah, and it's that liability insurance that's where a large chunk of the medical care cost comes from currently.
And the only time I've ever had it used against me was I had to pay for cleaning because I was replacing a compressor in a sub-zero refrigerator, and I I didn't turn my oxyacetylene torch off correctly, and I got soot everywhere in this perfectly white kitchen, and it all had to be cleaned.
Mhm. So, to prevent your eyes from glazing over further, is there a topic that you would like to talk about?
Well, you got to put me on the spot like that, right?
Yeah. Your eyes were glazing over. I'm just trying to be nice here.
I mean, we could pull a Jen Psaki and circle back to Russia and Ukraine, because I got a Reuters article here. The U.S. warns Chinese firms against helping Russia against potential Ukraine sanctions. And it's also it's also our friend Ned Price, the State Department spokesperson, apparently.
Fantastic.
The United States warned Chinese firms on Thursday they would face consequences if they sought to evade any export controls imposed on Moscow in the event of Russia invading Ukraine. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price made the remarks after China's foreign ministry said China and Russia had coordinated their positions on Ukraine during a meeting between their foreign ministers in Beijing on Thursday. So, I mean, just it feels like the whole discussion about Ukraine is just toothless to me. You know?
The thing is that it probably is, because it's the Biden administration.
Here's a quote from Price. We have an array of tools that we can deploy if we see foreign companies, including those in China, doing their best to backfill U.S. export control actions, to evade them, to get around them, Price told a regular news briefing. Western countries say any invasion of Ukraine by Russia would bring sanctions on Moscow, and Washington has said it is prepared to impose financial sanctions as well as export control measures. White House National Security official Peter Harrell said on Wednesday that Washington was working on the export control measures with allies in Asia, including Japan and South Korea. So, so who do you guys think is going to be, like, riding the bomb down cowboy style when this all kicks off?
Well, Slim Pickens is already dead, so I don't know who we have left.
See, the major problem is everyone in the world that has any sort of power and any sort of sense knows that the Biden administration is just the third term of Obama. And because of that, they know that any threat is entirely empty. That every red line is just a pretty bit of paint, and you can step over it with impunity.
Price said Russia should know that a closer relationship with Beijing would not make up for the consequences imposed in response to an invasion. If Russia thinks that, this is a quote, if Russia thinks that it will be in a position to mitigate some of those consequences by a closer relationship with China, that is not the case. It will actually make the Russian economy in many ways more brittle, he said. If you deny yourself the ability to transact with the West, to import with the West from Europe, from the United States, you're going to significantly degrade your productive capacity and your innovative potential. Because that's what they're worried about right now.
Yeah, you lost me.
And I also have, for your viewing pleasure, a meme from the first video we had with Ned. That's the bottom link there, Johnny.
All right. Control V and nice.
haven't watched The Simpsons in years, but people making memes with The Simpsons, it just triggers that nostalgia for me.
Very nice.
I don't know if can chat read that?
Do you want to be Skinner, or do you want to be what's the superintendent's name again? Chalmers, yeah.
Super Nintendo Chalmers. Let me see if I can read. If they can read it, then we won't have to worry about it. But that looks like they can read it.
And Camel was getting all hopeful. He was about to have his voice acting debut, and then Johnny just dashes that on the rock.
I really wanted to be Chalmers.
All right, fine, we'll do it.
Good Lord, what's happening in there?
Russian false flag attack.
The Russians are preparing a false flag with the world watching, and you have declassified evidence?
Yes.
May we see it?
No. You say hi?
Hi. Hello.
Is that the missus?
Hello, young one.
Yes. That is the missus.
Hello, Mrs. Not young one.
Has she come to grips with the fact that we're just going to refer to her as Mrs. Hellcat?
She has not grasped the reality yet, but it's she still prefers the name.
Tell her to quit trying to make such a thing.
The article I shared there, I just realized that if you pull it up, it's not going to have the same ads, and the ad was what I wanted to point out.
Let's give it a shot.
And it was.
Is this like Monkey's stream last night, where it's just like the big boba?
Well, it was for a company called Sportsman's Guide, and this is one of the things it suggested for me.
Golf clubs?
Let you pull that up if you want.
If you could share it, because I'm not getting the same ad you are.
Yeah, I put the actual item that they put up there.
Oh, I got you.
This is what
German helmet.
Yeah, they want me to buy this.
Nice.
I don't know why. I don't want to explain it.
Can you give your best, Sergeant Schultz?
I see nothing.
Okay.
I kind of want it now, actually, so it's working.
You know,
I want to wear it to work.
If you join the Buyers Club, you save $12.
Yeah, I mean,
they're telling you, it's like, hey, man, another World War's coming. Buy a helmet. But now that I think about it, man, all those old TV shows me and Nana came on watching, no Hogan's Heroes.
What's wrong with you? Watch Hogan's Heroes.
Well, no, it's just like the different channels she has that she watches that plays old shows and whatnot. They don't carry Hogan's Heroes on it. That's all.
I am still.
TV Land doesn't carry Hogan's Heroes anymore.
We haven't been watching TV Land. We've been watching
okay.
FE TV and
Okay.
a couple other ones.
Dude.
Like the one channel she's got that we've been watching is it's got like Rawhide and Wagon Train and Perry Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Medals.
Why?
If you feel like pinning them to someone's chest, I guess there you go.
I mean, but why?
You too can engage in stolen valor.
You know, like that's just a crime now. Why are they selling that?
You know, I'm more offended by this than the Nazi helmet.
Yeah, I mean the helmet was cool.
Yeah.
All right, but
Now, here's a
I'm going to
question.
keep looking at this thing. This is amazing.
Would you be as offended if it was Nazi medals?
Well, I'm not Whoopi Goldberg, so yes.
Well, it's not a live one, but you can buy a dummy flashbang.
Oh, hold on.
I was really worried where you were going with that. Well, it's not a live one, but you can buy a Nazi.
Well, I'm sure you can, but just not on this side.
There's got to be some old Argentinian somewhere that you could just pay them without having to dig them up.
I used to have 3, but I lost one.
Tell me those are lighters, please. Come on, please. Tell me that's one of those cool.
These are grenades.
Oh,
here's a Romanian helmet.
I thought you were gonna say these are like dummy grenades and I want one of those. I want one of those lighters that looks like it, what's that Denzel Washington movie? Like him and Ice-T were in it. John Lithgow. Shit, Johnny, you don't have IMDb pulled up, do you?
I will.
I was gonna say I don't have it pulled up either.
I know the one that you're talking about. I can't for the life of me remember its fucking name.
Me neither. Like there's a couple of Denzel Washington movies that are like that from the early 90s or whatever. It was a Denzel. Oh, thank you, Assassin. He's Ricochet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one. Yeah, Denzel had a grenade lighter.
Oh, good lord! There's a lot of stuff to go through before I even got near that.
Yeah, right. Underrated movie, by the way. We should put that on. If we ever do a movie night, Johnny, we should put that on the list.
For even just floating the idea of a movie night, we are so backlogged.
Hey man, I'm the idea guy. Somebody else, they handle logistics. Okay.
I mean, we'll get to it one of these years, but
see, that's the problem. You've never hired the logistics person, so you've just been saying someone else is in charge of logistics. No, you haven't.
Dude, I started a Discord with no idea how to run it. I just let Della, do all the
we come up with the
heavy
idea.
lifting.
Della, he throws it into action. And not only can you do stolen valor, but you can do stolen 1940s valor.
Is this where Trudeau got all his cosplay stuff from?
Makes sense.
I mean,
that looks like
no.
That looks like the hat.
We haven't seen one jar of boot black yet.
Give it time.
I'm sure they've got shoe polish on that website, Johnny.
Give it
Johnny?
time. I've only just begun looking.
I am sure there's shoe polish there.
This is actually a pretty cool website. I gotta admit, I like some of the stuff that's on here. Kind of expensive, but
Italian gas mask.
So, by the way,
dude, now see, I wish I had the money. I wish I had used some of my stimulus for that right there. I would have no problem wearing that mask to go grocery shopping.
Military World War II parade bayonet.
By the way, has it been found out yet whether Trudeau fled Canada?
I don't know. Do we have any Canadians in chat that could verify? I see Buster has given some breaking news about Austin stores. Grocery stores are mostly empty.
Because you guys heard about Trudeau fleeing the capital, right?
I heard, if I'm not mistaken, I heard he got exposed to the coup and went into isolation while they were doing the convoy. And then, a day or two later, I heard that he was actually laying low in the U.S. I don't have any verified knowledge.
The most recent information that I've heard is that he has gone into hiding, fleeing the capital due to the truckers coming.
Oh my goodness! I think I want one just because.
What we got,
There's
Johnny?
a possibility that he fled the entire nation.
Military surplus weather balloon.
Nice.
So which one of the kids are you going to tie to it?
Well, it doesn't have to be my kid.
Well, I was thinking of the balloon boy, man. You trying to get famous? Come on, Johnny.
The National Weather Service, just to save money, just changed from filling them with helium to filling them with hydrogen.
Okay.
And
That
I
can
am
have an explosive reaction.
I am just waiting for the first time one of those just kind of goes pop and burst in flames on launch.
Yep.
Kevlar vest. Ooh. A plumed hat.
Well, did you see what I just put in chat? I think I might get this.
Which style of plumed hat is it?
It's a U.S. military cadet Shako hat with plume and case.
Okay.
So I will share that real quick.
Trying to channel your inner Rommel there, Travis?
Yeah. Oh, I kind of want that. Yeah, I do.
Nice.
I mean,
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Just when I thought I'd never watch that movie again.
Wait, is that the one with Christopher Titus?
No, I think it's George Clooney.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes?
I think so.
Oh, no, wait, that's a 78. Yeah, that's too early for Titus. Oh, no, his was Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah. There's a French gas mask.
Well, to be fair, the French did have to smell the other French, so they did need them.
A recruiter badge.
Again, why?
There's a sailor hat.
I mean, wait.
Did you find the sailor hat too? Hold on. Yeah, I'm right there.
Italian Navy.
You can steal someone else's valor, like some other country's valor. Just put a cheesy Italian accent on anything.
Just do your best Mario impression and do like the little the hand sign. I have to wonder why a lot of this stuff is being sold, or well, not even necessarily being sold. Obviously, it's being sold because there are people who want to buy it. My question is who and why.
Weirdos, like me. I do
guess
want.
Would be movies and reenactors.
Yeah, they have reenactors.
Yeah, I have a friend who's actually a reenactor.
See, I don't ever think of reenactors past like Civil War, like because I had a college roommate who was a Civil War reenactor, and yes, he was a Confederate, and I gave him shit endlessly.
Oh yeah, that's a common thing.
So
Most
like,
of
dude,
I foresee your death.
It's like if you're gonna reenact, don't you want to be on the winning side? You know?
The only time I went to see a reenactment, somebody
Frosted puts credit card away and whistles innocently.
the only time I went to go see a reenactment, somebody pulled a Alec Baldwin, and it was kind of bloody.
They shot the director.
No, what happened was they used they were using a revolver, but
the guy was pretending to shoot Stonewall Jackson. He just took his part a little too seriously, didn't he?
well, he fired it. He thought it was all just black powder. I guess you don't call it a blank, but he thought none of them had a live had a round in there. But what happened was that he fired it, and there was somebody on the other side who just grabbed his neck, and it was like blood gushing out. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's such a good reenactor. That looks so real." And like, oh.
That's arterial spray.
Yeah, he was fine though, but they solved it.
I mean, the hole in his neck says otherwise, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, fine as in he didn't die.
That's a low bar.
Oh.
Well, for me at least, like, I mean, but did you die though? It's like,
No, Low
still
Bar
hurt him
is
like
the
a
name-
bitch.
Low Bar is the name of Peter Dinklage's new restaurant that he's opening.
Oh, Assassin says France has valor. You are demented. Is that from when we were talking about the gas mask?
Yep. And steal someone else's valor.
Well, I think we were talking about the Italian Navy at that point, though.
True.
Which is still kind of laughable to me, but okay.
If you buy this ATN X-Sight 4K Pro Series Smart HD Day-Night Rifle Scope, you get free toll ammo, 223 Remington 55 grain 240 rounds with purchase.
Nice.
I want those Zero Dark 30 like night vision goggles. Do they have that in stock at Sportsman's Guide?
Let's see here. What kind are those?
The 4-tube night vision goggles. Have you not seen those, Johnny?
I didn't watch Zero Dark 30, so I don't know which ones you're talking about.
Have you ever played Medal of Honor?
Yes.
Well, it was there's Medal of Honor and like Medal of Honor Warfighter. I think they had those night vision goggles in those because like some Navy SEALs actually got in trouble for it. Apparently, they weren't supposed to be talking about Fight Club, but yeah, like they've shown them in like books and magazines. Oh, do they have them in Splinter Cell too, Frosted?
Yep.
I don't think I've ever played Splinter Cell.
And they got in trouble for that.
Are these
just
the
made
ones
me think?
You speak of?
Assassin says GP NVG 18s. They go for about 40 grand. Yeah, something like that. That first guy there. Yeah.
You guys heard about the World of Tanks issue from ages ago, right?
Weren't they like getting like schematics for tanks that were like legit or something like that?
It was a tanker. I can't remember what military he was in. Was saying that one of the tanks that they had in the game wasn't accurately depicted, and he had problems with it because it was saying that it only had this much penetration when it should have this much penetration, and they were saying that it could only go up to this top speed when its top speed was actually this, and he was just ranting about how they had fucked up his favorite tank, and someone effectively went, yeah, bullshit, like you would know, and he went, fuck yeah, I would know, here's the schematics. Because it was his preferred tank. He leaked official government documents to prove that his tank that it was in the game.
Well, actually,
well, I mean, with the Medal of Honor, it was like the remake they did or whatever because they updated it for Afghanistan and like they did like a whole Bin Laden type raid at the end of the game. Yeah, they got in trouble. The Navy SEALs got in trouble for that because apparently some of them like double dipped. And they were doing like
Oh, they did mocap for it?
I don't know if they did. I think they may have done some motion capture for it, but like they were like technical advisors.
Ah.
Yeah. And I think it was also like one of the guys that was like on the Bin Laden raid wrote a book about it, and like they had some pictures of gear and stuff in that book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's still fighting with the government over that.
Well, there's some day-night binoculars, night vision multi-purpose monocular. That one's $3,500.
Yeah, Assassin's saying that the PVS 14s are only around $3,500.
Oh,
I know it's not like night vision, but forward-looking infrared systems have gotten ridiculously cheaper in the last couple of years.
I just like the idea of walking around in the dark. You know?
Well, I mean, you could do about the same thing with infrared. It just detects heat, but it's just not as clear.
That was one of my favorite pastimes as a kid. Was like because I was always the night owl, and so was my mom. So like she'd be coming downstairs or something like that, just middle of the night, and just scare the shit out of her. Surprised that she didn't like fall down like the last couple. I would always wait until she like got to the landing. But yeah, just always
I like how you
walk around the house in the
say-
dark, scaring people and shit.
I like how you started to say that you always were surprised that she didn't fall. Wait, no, I waited until she was on a landing.
Well,
I was
that's because you didn't know my
trying
mother
to
saying when
kill
she could fall
someone.
from a perfectly flat and level surface.
Sure. Really hate cameras.
Well, there's also the times where like you scared where like she'd end up jumping backwards, and have the steps right there behind her. So I mean, she could still fall. You don't know the layout of my house growing up, Sanguine.
That's what you think.
Okay, now I have questions.
Well, if Biden can fall upstairs, anything's possible.
Not once, not twice, but thrice.
Yeah, see, Assassin, he's sitting here talking about, like conducting business. I just want to scare the shit out of my cats when they're in the kitchen at like 3 a.m. Like we are not the same, sir.
Of course, the cats can see you while you're standing there, right?
Well, I can see them see me standing there, so yeah, just.
And he'd want to get it good enough that he would be able to see them before they're able to see him, just so that he could get nice and close, and then just, hey, you shit, and walk away.
Why is that Christmas tree staring at me?
Or if I'm taking the dogs out in the backyard, maybe when the neighbors look out their back door or something, they just see these green glowing eyes and they think aliens. Who knows, man? There's endless possibilities that I could use to fuck with people.
Well, at least until the cops show up and blind you.
What? I'm sorry, I thought this was America. I'm on my property. I'm not doing nothing.
That would be awesome, though.
So now there's a Simpsons reference and a...
Well, no, like, did you... there's a... I saw that meme pop up the other day again because it was like a headline said, 2 men arrested for, like wearing Kevlar vests and shooting each other.
I still don't know why that was illegal.
Apparently, I guess they didn't do it like in Chicago or somewhere that has mutual combat. And, like, this is just product testing. That's all,
I mean,
I don't remember where exactly that story originated from. It's like, all right, I can understand like buying a bulletproof vest. Okay, I can understand wanting to make sure that it's actually bulletproof. I can't for the life of me understand wearing the bulletproof vest to test if it's bulletproof and having somebody shoot at you.
Or seeing if a Desert Eagle can shoot through a Bible.
I thought it was a phone book.
Yep.
Wait, it was a Bible? Oh, that's why the guy died. It's sacrilege.
Well, it was a thick book. I'm not exactly sure what it was. I don't remember what it was.
No. See, the problem is he wasn't wearing the magical Mormon underwear that says that it protects against bullets.
Wait, the magic underwear protects against bullets? I thought it just protected you from losing your virginity.
It was one of the things ages ago that ended up coming out where someone was claiming the magic Mormon underwear protects against bullets and Satan. And there was like a list of a bunch of other things. If Jenna's out there, she's going to give me shit for talking about it. I'm willing to bet.
Does it protect against bullets and Satan? Or is like if Satan is shooting at you, does it protect against both at the same time?
It had commas, not Satan bullets or bullet Satan, so it's neither saying that it just protects against bullets that are fired by Satan, nor by a Satan that is in the form of a giant bullet.
It was an encyclopedia.
Which one?
God, I hope they chose an E at least.
Well, it's not an Encyclopedia Britannica, I know that. That would stop a bullet.
The entire collection, probably, yeah.
He just like picked the one like at the end, you know, like, oh, here, you know, encyclopedia. We'll go with X.
Yep.
Y and Z. That should be thick enough, right?
Yeah, isn't that why they put X, Y, and Z together?
I posted one of those infrared thermal cameras for you, Camel.
Oh, yeah.
Harbor Freight, so you know it's great.
Now, thermal. That would be awesome.
I think that we're all clearly wrong which one they chose, because the moment I thought about it, I know which volume they chose for this. It was clearly B for bulletproof.
Well, they're 19, so it's only it's only reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
$200 for Predator Vision. I might go for that.
I mean, I really want one. I think that would actually help me do some diagnostics at work.
Well, it is kind of small but it's $200, so you really can't complain.
Is a coolant line leaking? That place is really fucking cold.
Assassin says, I have threat level 4 plates with something Kevlar in my vest. I do not have to shoot it to know it works. I have a copy of the engineering data from the company. Yeah, man, but trust but verify, right?
And that's 3A Kevlar.
3A? Okay.
3A.
I mean, I have a fire extinguisher that has been like...
I love that Assassin humors me by actually acting like I know what he's talking about. I'm an idiot. And I don't know if I spend enough money for a Kevlar vest, I'd want to know it works, but I'd also be afraid of breaking it. So no, I would not actually shoot it.
Let's see. Temperature gauge from -4 degrees to 1,202 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
-15 Celsius to 650 degrees Celsius.
I was put in a dangerous situation by a deep freezer failing at one point. It started to bleed from its nitrogen line.
Oh, joy.
Nitrogen. And yeah, it was one of the deep freeze, so it was one of the nitrogen cooled deep freezes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Camel.
And
what?
It takes pictures. So
the camera thing takes pictures?
Yeah. The thermal camera. It stores pictures.
Cool.
So yeah, it started leaking from the nitrogen line without anyone realizing, and it was in this small room that you would have to go into and grab samples. The thing about when the air has been replaced by nitrogen is there's no way for you to know that you're dying until you die.
Oklahoma was going to use as an execution method.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back the gas chamber.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, when it comes to dying...
Although I don't remember
that.
I don't remember them considering that. I every time I'd hear them talk about, like, execution methods, it was always talking about bringing back the chair.
Well, it was under Fallon. She brought it up.
Yeah, just suffocate him with nitrogen.
Yep.
It's
here lately. I have heard, you know, they're talking about like firing squad. It's like, why doesn't anybody take that?
I would take the firing squad. I think I would do that because I think I think they'd have less of a chance of screwing that up than the lethal injection.
So there's a question. If you had to select a method of execution for yourself, which one would you choose?
I want to go circus style, man. So like shot out of a cannon, you know?
Okay.
No, honestly, I have no idea how I would want to. I imagine I'd probably take the firing squad and just ask that they like reverse it, so like everybody but one guy has a bullet, just so that way you know like it's gonna be over quick.
I would personally go hanging.
That's a good one, you know.
A drop hang, not a slow hang.
Yeah.
I know. I'm call me crazy, but I think the guillotine.
Okay, not a bad choice.
Well, you want to find out if it's true that you know still like sitting there blinking and whatnot for a couple seconds afterwards. See if you can get out one last like pithy remark.
Just mouth "fuck you" to them. Just go out like this. Because, well, the only problem I would have with that is that there's just such a lead up to it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like having to prepare everything, and I'm like, come on, get it together, guys.
I know, something quick and done.
The so much lead up just reminded me of a pretty badass line from a really fucked up person. Have any of you ever heard of Pearl Panzram?
No, but Assassin says he wants to go out in a firefight against overwhelming enemy force. Like I said, we are not the same, sir.
I do like the I'm awaited in Valhalla.
If we're talking about like methods of just death, you know, not execution. I maintain that I want to go out, you know, like 90 years old, shot by a jealous husband.
See, I was really expecting you to say that you want to go out of this world like you came in, screaming between a woman's thighs and covered in blood.
It just got oddly dark.
We started with
when he started off with like I want to go out the way I came in. It's like I don't want to die bungee jumping.
Well, okay. We're talking about execution, but if you had to go out any movie style, what would it be?
I mean, Terry's in chat, so I have to give the obligatory disclaimer that I am not Jack Cochran, but I do agree with him. Hard fucking. That's how I want to go out. Let it ruin somebody else's day, you know.
I guarantee if I die in most ways, I'm going to try to ruin somebody else's day. It's like, hell, I got to clean this up.
But yeah, that's me. So what about you guys? Sanguine, you got any particular method in which you want to shuffle off this mortal coil?
So movie death. I'm torn between either the extraordinarily bloody and violent or the very peaceful. The extraordinary bloody or violent is very much the assassin's method of here I come Valhalla. The peaceful method is much more the leave a cryptic word as I die, a la Citizen Kane Rosebud.
My movie way of dying would probably be Dr. Strangelove, the riding the bomb down.
So we found a volunteer, guys.
Oh,
Answers that question. What about you, Johnny?
I don't know, the bomb thing would be pretty quick, but as much as a fan I am of heights, that wouldn't be able to work for me.
Yeah, I don't want to go screaming all the way down. No.
Like, it would be me trying to detonate it before it goes down, before it hits. Just because I don't want to deal with the long drop.
Inadvertently, he ends up quoting another movie while trying to do the Doctor Strangelove. Then he's just hammering down on the bomb. Russian, American, make no difference. All made in Taiwan.
he was my favorite character in the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty much everyone's favorite character in that movie.
Wait, we're talking about the Russian dude in Armageddon, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Making sure I had the right movie. So that's where my mind went immediately. And I don't know, man. I always like Steve Buscemi's character the most.
Steve Buscemi's character was amazing, and Steve Buscemi's character had the best request.
Yes, no taxes ever. But no, I just figure I'd be the dude that'd be, space madness. Just yeah.
Well, that's why they carry duct tape on space flights.
Well, I mean, that's Peter Stormare, so I mean, try picking a character that he doesn't do well.
Frost says he wants to go out like Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi.
Just falling eternally.
I realize now, like, if we're talking movie deaths, the one I described is pretty much 8mm.
Given the new trilogy, the way that he died in Return of the Jedi was not at all. Because
does anybody here or in chat take the sequel trilogy for what?
Fuck no.
Okay, then. I gave episode 1 a shot, and I was like, nope, there's only 3 movies, and then I just walked away.
I gave episode 1 a shot. I went, okay, that was fun to watch, but it wasn't a good movie. They really have to do something good for the second one in order for this not to be shit. Then I saw the second one and I went, okay, yep, fuck this, fuck everything. The entire series is dead. There's only the original trilogy. And a guilty pleasure of the prequels.
I'll be honest with you, the last one and the only one I've seen in the last 10 years was Rogue One. And I have no idea why I went to go see that. I was taken to see it.
What was the second one of the sequel trilogy called?
The Last Jedi.
It was, yes, The Last Jedi.
Okay, yeah. I caught part of that on Netflix because somebody else was watching it, and I just sat there and mocked it until they, finished watching it. Like, wait, is this the? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
I was watching it as part of there's a party that a friend of a friend invited me to, and he had this whole, because he runs this barbecue joint in town, so he has this whole thing. It kind of helps sell his brand for this barbecue joint. So we all get a plate, we eat there, and then we go to the movie. Everyone's dressed up, doing their nerd shit. It's actually pretty fun. And we went to, they did it for The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and for The Last Jedi. And as I'm going through the one, I'm just like, maybe there's something I can contribute, as like a drawing a prize or something, something I can donate. As I'm like, well, I know I'm going to get invited to the last one once it comes out, and I realized after the Last Jedi came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so awesome! It's so awesome!" I'm just like, this movie's shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Well, what'd you not like about it?" And I'm just like, "Okay, where do I start? Like, from action and I picked apart like everything about the movie that I didn't like, especially the end when the chick dies, and then they announced that she was going to be in the third movie. I'm just like, no, this is stupid. And then, as it turns out, I was disinvited from the from there on.
What, you mean you didn't love the Holdo maneuver?
No.
But you have to understand how impressive and awesome that was, and how it absolutely doesn't break everything that it clearly fucking does. That entire thing just drove me crazy. It was... The problem that I had with that in particular, with the Holdo maneuver, was that would be a really cool thing to have in another sci-fi series. Have it be that, yeah, you can do a last-ditch effort attack. It's a suicide run. You can do it, so people always try to make it so that it seems like there's an out to give them any other option other than doing that at the end of a battle. But it happens. It would be good in other series, not in Star Wars. Everything about that movie, fuck that movie. The Rogue One, the last, 2 minutes, where it's just the Vader hallway run, that was fucking awesome. Everything other than that was kind of There was one good scene in the space battle that I liked, which kind of explained why the ships are shaped how they are, because the Alderaan Hammerhead cruiser actually just slammed into another ship and did some fucking work with it. That was cool. But I left that movie theater not remembering a single fucking character's name. And that is one of the most damning things that I think you could ever say about a movie.
All right. Well, we are hitting 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it. So much for parting thoughts. Travis?
Everybody has a different definition of cold, but I say I am correct when it's 15 degrees is cold. I am the most correct of all.
All right, Camel.
I guess I'll use one that I've recycled a few times now. The only time you have too much fuel is when you're on fire.
Sanguine?
Yeah.
I'll leave off with my standard of, if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you.
I think I'm going to go with an oldie but a goodie from Antonio Scarpacci. Embrace tomorrow, or embrace today, for tomorrow is bound to suck worse.
Yep.
And with that, the zoo is closed. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, all.
Good night, everyone.